Hello. 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 Hello, and welcome to Mr. Watkins' World. Oh yeah, I don't have the theme song yet. Moving swiftly on. We're back with another video. This time, this is a request. So someone's made a request for me to make a video on how to create a kite. So here's mine. This is what we're going to be looking at making. Yours will hopefully look even better than mine, and hopefully will also fly. So let's get crafting. Here are all the things you're going to need to make a kite right now. So you're going to need a pencil, a ruler, some scissors, some string, a Sharpie if you have one. If you don't have a Sharpie, you can get away with not having a Sharpie, to be fair. And you're going to need some card. The last thing you're going to need is a plastic bag. Ideally, one of the, say, Morrison's or Tesco's ones that are a little bit thicker, because this is going to be the main part of your kite that's going to make it fly. So it needs to be decent. If you don't have anything like this, you could use a bin bag, that would work as well, or maybe an old piece of tarpaulin, anything like that. It's just the first step of making your kite is to create the shape of your kite, and to do that we need to start with our bag, and we need to get rid of this top bit where the handle is, because we don't want this bit, we want one single piece of plastic. So you're going to take your scissors, and I'm going to mark this just so you can see where I'm cutting. I'm going to cut right across here and take off all of the handle, because I literally just want one piece to work with. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut across here. Remember, when you're using these scissors, do take your time and be careful. It's quite tricky cutting this plastic actually, but you just take your time, you'll get there fine. Oh, that rhymed fast. So, got rid of that end, we don't need that anymore, we shall pop that in the bin. We've still got two pieces, and we don't want two pieces, so now we need to cut along here, and along here, because we only want one piece. You can see what I've done is I've cut the handle off now, because we don't need that, and I have cut along both sides to separate it, and because of the type of bag I've got, when I open it up, I've now got a larger flat piece. So I'm now just going to cut this piece off, so that we have one nice flat piece for us to make our kite out. So I'm just going to go right across here. It doesn't particularly matter how big your piece of plastic is, as long as you're happy with it, in terms of that is how big your kite is going to be. So again, we don't need this piece right now, but save this for later. So now we need to draw our shape for the kite. So I'm going to go for a very typical kite shape, and I'm going to start by marking the middle. So I'm going to fold it in half so I can find the middle, and I know that that's the middle there. I'm going to do the same at the bottom. Again, this only has to be rough, but this is going to help you with your drawing. That's about the middle. And now I'm going to mark the middle lengthways as well, because that is where I'm going to draw my lines to. So I'm going to go in about 3 fingers from either side. Yeah, if you want to use your ruler, if you've got one, it's about, I've done about 5 centimetres either side, because you're going to need that later. And the same from the top and the bottom, I'm going to go 5 centimetres, 5 centimetres. If you don't have a ruler that has centimetres on, depending on how big your hands are, it could be about 3 or 4 fingers. 3 of mine, probably 4 of yours. So, we're now going to join up our dots. So I'm going to go from here to here, because that's going to make the top of my kite shape. There to there. And let's go to the bottom. This doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. It doesn't particularly matter. So that is going to be my kite shape. So it's going to be sort of diamond. The next step is to cut this out. Now we're not going to cut this shape out exactly because we need a little bit of a margin to fold over and tape onto our frame when we make our frame. So get the same ruler that you just used and you're going to line it up on the line you've just drawn, and you're going to draw on the other side, and that will give you a nice margin all the way around. I'm going to do the same all the way around. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to be big enough for you to be able to fold it over and stick it onto the frame that we make, which you'll see later. All the way around. If you're using a Sharpie and you're on a table, I would suggest putting some newspaper down or doing it on a table, but it doesn't matter if you get a mark on it because, as you know, Sharpie will not come off. So now we're going to cut this out, so we're going to go right round the edge all the way around, so you've just got one piece. I'm going to do that now, and we do now have our basic kite shape. So this is roughly what our kite is going to look like at the end. So our next step is to make our T-frame, or our cross, for this to be attached to. There are definitely lots of different ways that you could actually make your cross for your kite. The way you make it is completely up to you. If you have parents that can help you join two dowels together and you've got dowels at home, brilliant. If you have any garden canes, they can work as well, but again you'll need help sawing them, so you'll have to ask your parents about that. I'm going to show you a way that hopefully you can do either on your own or with a little bit of help. So the way we're going to make the A-frame is we are going to roll up some card or a push. If you don't have any cards, you could do it with paper, it just might be slightly trickier. So this is how we're going to do it. Let's put this to one side, and we're going to take our piece of card. And what we're going to do is we're going to start rolling from this corner. So we're going to take the corner and we're going to fold a very small amount over, just the smallest amount there, and then we're going to fold it over again, and then again, until it starts to be able to be rolled. The end, and at the end we're going to take a piece of tape and we are going to secure it, so we don't want it to unroll and waste all our hard work. So that is definitely going to be strong enough for what we need it for. Now we have two. So one is ever so slightly longer than the other, and that was sort of done on purpose because obviously the one that's going across does not need to be as long as the one going up because of the shape. So we need to have a look now at our kite, and we need to cut this down to the right size. If you're using something different, the way you do it is still exactly the same. You will cut this to the right length, and you will cut this piece the right length, and then you will attach them together. So you can still follow even if you're using dowel or whether it is you decide to use. Anything will work as long as it's strong enough to make that shape. So I'm going to mark where I'm going to cut this. So I'm going to use the middle because that's going to be the strongest bit. So I'm going to cut it there, and there, so that's going to be my top piece. And this one I'm going to cut there and there. Now before you cut these pieces, if you've made them out of card, you need to put tape around the points just before you cut, because otherwise when you cut it, it will start to unravel. So I'm going to get a piece of tape, and on this piece I'm going to tape here all the way around. Side, all around there. And I'll do the same on this piece as well. A good tip for you is to pre-cut some pieces of tape if you don't have a tape dispenser, and just put them on the side of the table, and then you don't have to try and juggle your work whilst you're trying to cut tape. So I'm going to cut here and here, and I'm going to cut here and here. And now we have our two pieces. Now, it was a lot harder than I thought it would be to cut through this, so do feel free to try and get some help with it, because yeah, I didn't think it'd be quite that hard to cut through, but I mean, it's a good thing because it means that it's going to be strong. So I'm going to line this up like this, and this like this. So what we now need to do is we need to attach these two pieces together. Now the term for this is lashing them together, and there is a special way of doing it, but what we're going to do is we're just going to tie it together with some string. So you're going to need quite a decent amount of string. So I'd unravel some string, cut it off, and I'm going to zoom in for this bit so that you can see what I am doing. Right, so what I'm going to do is, at this end, I'm going to tie a little loop, like so. It's big enough to go over here. So put it over this piece, and I'm going to bring it to about the middle. And this is where the tricky part starts, another tricky part. I know I said that we've done the trickiest part, but this is another tricky part. So you need to tie this piece to this piece. Now this is how I would do it. So you're going to need to hold the two pieces together with one hand like this, and take your string, and you're going to go under the piece below it, and then back over, and then you're going to go under this piece, and back over this piece, but on the other side. Now this is quite a hard thing to show you how to do in a video, but if you're not sure, I'm sure your parents will be able to help you to do this. So all you're going to do is pretty much keep on wrapping round in different ways until it feels strong enough. And the thing about tying knots, and I've been told this by lots of people, is if you can't tie knots, tie lots. So keep on wrapping that string until it is tight. I'm sure nobody wants to hear me singing, so I'll try not to. And mine is feeling pretty strong now, so just keep wrapping round. Keep wrapping round all the different ways that you can. And when you're starting to run out of string, that's when we need to tie it off. So to tie it off, what we're going to do is you're going to turn your cross like this, so that this is facing the top. And what you're going to do is you're going to wrap your string around in between both of the tubes. This should tighten up everything that you've done here. and then when you've got almost no string left, you're going to go like this, and you're going to tape it on top. So you're going to wrap tape round this part here, like so. And this should hold your piece of string in place. If you don't think it's going to hold it in place, then get another piece of tape on there, because if that comes undone, everything will start to get loose, and it's not what you want. So I'm even going to put one more, oh, I've lost the end of my tape now, I'm even going to put one more piece of tape on when I can find the end of it, just to be super sure. That it's not going to fall apart. There we go. So I'm going to put one this way now, all the way along the length of this. Now, I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's going to be strong enough for what we're doing. I don't think it matters that there's a little bit of wobble in there, a little bit of movement, that's fine. You could also put a piece of tape across there, just to be safe, and we'll get the end of that as well. But it's not necessary. Okay, so almost looks like something that you'd eat. Hey, why did Elsa lose a kite? Because she let it go! Now we have our cross shape, we need to get a piece of string, and we need to run a piece of string between all of these to create our diamond shape, or kite shape, to attach this. So you're going to need a piece of string that is long enough to go all the way around. So you need to roughly measure a piece of string, making sure you leave a little bit for tying. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do another little roll there, because I don't want to end up having too little. So pop that to one side, we're going to use that in a moment. The way we're going to attach this is, in the top of every one of these, we're going to cut a little slit in either side to slot a piece of string in. Now these slits don't want to be very deep. They only want to be roughly maybe a centimetre. So you're not wanting anything more than this in every single one. This again is potentially going to be a bit of a tricky bit depending on how strong your cardboard is. And if you are using dowel or any sort of wood, you will definitely need help with this bit, because you'll have to saw a little notch into it, into every end, the same as what we're doing here. So it's the same principle, same idea, just slightly different. So you're going to get your scissors, be super careful when you're doing this bit, and you're going to find where your little notch is, and you're going to cut a tiny little notch in. All the way around, so there's one in every single part, so you should have 8 notches altogether. Remember, when you're using these scissors for something like this, you don't want to use the end. The ends are not the part of the scissors that are the sharpest. The sharpest bit is in the middle here. So when you're cutting, you want to get right into the middle there, then use that. Because you don't have to use all of that, you don't have to snip a line all the way across. Perfect, so I've got one on every single one now. And we're going to take our string. In the end of our string, we're going to tie a knot. I'm going to do a double knot, just so that it's plenty big, like that. And I'm going to slot this in the top notch, like this. Like that. Making sure is right up to there. I might get a close-up of that in a moment. Then you're going to take it and you're going to push it into the next notch. This doesn't need to be really, really, really tight. You're not pulling on this super hard, because if you have a look at mine now, I've pulled on it too hard, so it's not the right shape. So you need to make sure you don't pull on it too hard. So you go to that piece, and then we go around to this piece, and go on to this piece, until we get all the way around back to our first notch, and you're going to slot it back into the original notch. Now before you look at tying this end, you need to check that these are all fairly tight. You shouldn't be able to play the guitar with it, but it should be, you know, tight enough to hold itself. So from here, the way you're going to tie this is you're going to tie it to this part of our cross. So we're going to go round and we're going to tie it to itself like so. Again, I go back to the same saying: if you can't tie knots, tie lots. So keep on tying until it is tight. I am by no means amazing at tying knots. And then this little bit that I've left on the end, I'm going to tie it onto that. Hopefully. Oh, I might need to tape this as well, just to be 100% safe. There we go. Hopefully that is okay. Feels alright to me, and I might cut this little bit of string off. But actually first I'm going to wrap it around this a few more times, just to make sure that it is strong enough. And also, to be fair, it looks quite nice. And now I'm just going to hold that all in place with a bit of tape right down the length. Like that. And one more piece of tape around the top. And there we have our kite shape. Give these bits a little bit of a twiddle to make sure that it's looking right, and check that it's going to line up with your plastic bag. Mine's a little slightly too long, but I think we'll make it work fine. So, on to the next step. Let's get a bit of a closer look for the next step. So we're going to get this piece out of the way just for a moment, and we just need to do a little bit more cutting on this before we attach it. So, on every corner, what we need to do is we need to cut off this little extra big piece that we don't need. So here, 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 and here, because it will make it tricky to attach it. So these pieces that I'm colouring, shading, these pieces need to be cut off, like so. Go like this. Oops, it's quite hard to cut this stuff, so just take your time and don't get too frustrated with it. Should now look a little something like that. Now it's time to attach our frame to what you would normally call your canvas, which is this material, though it's not made of canvas. So what you're going to do is you're going to place it onto your bag. You need to have the smaller part on the bottom, the smaller part of your cross, sorry, on the bottom. And I would also suggest that before you do this step, you cut some pieces of tape, quite a lot of pieces of tape, because you're going to need at least 2 from every single edge and 1 on every end. So you're going to need at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You need at least 12 pieces of tape. I've got a tape dispenser, so I should be okay. So do that now if you need to. Right, so let's start at the top. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to attach this to here. So I'm going to take a piece of tape, I'm going to place it on there like that, and I'm going to lift this up, and I'm going to tape it onto the cross, like so. And then our next step is to tape the bottom in exactly the same way. So I'm going to spin it around so you guys can see. So we're going to put our piece of tape underneath like this. And when you do this part here, you need to try and make sure that your bag is tight to your frame. So pull this a little bit this way. I've not really used a long enough piece of tape there. I'll go back and put another piece on. Secure. So when you flip it over, just have a little check. This piece should be fairly tight across here. Yeah, and it looks like just about is, man. I think that'll be okay. The next step is to do your 2 sides. So exactly the same process, exactly the same way of doing it. We're gonna, although I've just done it a slightly different way, but you're gonna take that like that. On the other side. Again, now is the time to make sure it is tight. As you can see, I've actually cut my piece a little bit of a funny shape, so it's not quite lining up, but it's absolutely fine. So, when you turn it over, you need to check that this is fairly tight. If it isn't tight, I would undo these corners and try again, because it's very important that this bit is done right. So, flipping over, now we need to attach these pieces like so. So we're going to need some more tape. I'm going to put a piece of tape here. And tape it into the back. So you're taping the bag to itself now here, all the way around. If you have a little piece like this that's getting in the way, just take your scissors. I'll cut you. Last part. Not the neatest job I've ever done, but I think it's going to work. So, when we flip it over, you should be able to see that generally it should all be pretty tight, which I think mine is. I think that's okay. If yours is looking something like this, then well done. If it's not, feel free to flip it over, undo some of your tape very carefully because you don't want to rip the plastic, and see if you can make it a little bit tighter, because I think it'd be okay if it isn't quite this tight, but it's better to be safe than have a kite that falls apart. On to the next step. Now we are so close to being finished and ready to try and fly our kite. There's only a couple more steps that we need to do. So we need to add a string between here and here, and a string here so we can fly it, and also we need to add a couple of streamers just to make it look a bit more snazzy. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to add a streamer here, here, and one here. So this is where you need that piece of bag that I told you to make sure you don't bin earlier. So I'm going to use this. Unfortunately, mine's already got a pen on, but that's fine. And I'm going to cut a couple of strings. So you're going to put this under here, pull it to the top, and then you're going to tie it onto this end of your kite. I would do a double knot because this is going to be the part that holds onto your kite. So if this comes undone, your kite will fly off. So we're going to take a piece of tape and we're going to tape this in place. This is so that your string doesn't come this way because you need to stay there. It helps with the balance. I'm going to put another piece just to be super sure. And then we're going to try and make it so that there's a nice little bit of slack there. So at this end now, I'm going to tie a string. What might be a good way of doing it is if you tie one knot at this end like this, then pull up, make sure that you've got a bit there, and then tie your other. Because then you know that you're definitely going to have a bit of slack there. Right, tied that, do a double knot. Not tied it very tight actually, I might go around it one more time. Otherwise I might end up losing my kite if I ever get to fly it. Fortunately the weather's not very nice at the moment when I'm doing this, but it is meant to get better. Right, I'm going to get rid of that, don't need it. I'm going to take this piece on, like I did with the other one, just to stop it from moving. Oops, not done a very good job of that, but we're not going to worry about it. Piece on the other side, hopefully stop it from moving. And we can check, yep, got a nice bit of slack. Doesn't feel like it's going to pull off, which is good. So, last step is onto here. We need our string that's actually going to help us fly the kite. So this piece needs to be, it needs to be the longest piece that you cut. How long you cut it is completely up to you. If you've got a roller string, I'd maybe even just leave it on the roll and just attach this to here. Or, if you want another step, you can get yourself a... I thought I had a lollipop stick somewhere. I do. I've got one here. So I've already made this. Just let me unravel it so I can show you. So what I've done here is I've took a lollipop stick. You can do this with anything. You can do it with a pencil, you can do it with whatever you like. I've took a lollipop stick, I've tied it on, I've taped it on, and then all I've done is I've just rolled up the string behind the middle of this piece of string, and you need to tie it really tightly onto it, because again, this is what's going to be this is what's going to stop your kite from flying away. So this needs to be a good knot. I would do 3, definitely. And they need to be the best knots you've ever tied. Like so. And I would even recommend taking a small piece of tape and where this extra piece of string is, taping it to that piece, which is going to be quite tricky, but I think it's worthwhile doing. Might not do that much, actually. Looks like it's good. So, there you have your kite. Hopefully you've enjoyed trying to have a go at making a kite like this. Now this was a slightly harder tutorials than some of the other ones that I have done. There was a lot more tricky aspects to it and it took a lot longer than the other ones, but I think it's turned out pretty awesome. Now I would absolutely love, once again, to see the kites that you have made. Even if it doesn't work like this one, even if you've made it out of paper, even if you just decorated one, that would be awesome. Feel free to ask your parents to send me a picture because I'd love to have a look. And if you have any ideas or any tutorials you'd like me to do, also let me know and I will see if I can get that done. So until next time, keep on crafting.